Okay, I'm just gonna let everybody in now. Good evening, everybody. How are you tonight?
Good.
Before we get started, I'm just gonna go down a list of applications that have been adjourned. Old business number 1, 63 Main Street. Number 3, 31 Long Island Avenue. Number 4, 24 Riceham Street. Number 6, 34 High Street. Number 7.
Number four is Leffler, 152 Hampton.
Okay.
And, yeah.
7, 25 Liberty Street. And number 9, 29 Harding Terrace. And also, we're going to be adjourning 81 Suffolk Street. So we're gonna go through each one and then we'll make a motion to adjourn. So Susan, you can go ahead and start.
Yeah, I believe the first thing we need to do is a flag salute. We'll just stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
flag.
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty,
justice for all.
And do I have a motion to open the meeting?
So moved, Alex.
Second, no,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Before we get started, I just want to say one thing. There are only a few people in the audience tonight, so I may repeat this next month. We intend to run these meetings in a very civil process, to try to help the applicants get things moving quickly, but we also expect the applicants and the people here to testify and others that care about these cases to be respectful of our board. We're all volunteers. And I think we owe Val a great deal of thanks for doing what he did for us. And I would just like to, get on a more even keel from now on. So that's it. Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved,
Second? All in favor?
need
aye.
a second.
Yeah, we need a
Alex,
second.
Second, Alex.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alex, you have to
opposed?
unmute and say aye. Sorry.
Aye.
Thank you.
Now we'll go on to the decision, 81 Suffolk Street. I need a motion to adjourn on this one.
So moved, Alex.
Second.
No,
Thank you. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Old business, 63 Main Street. We're going to move to adjourn until there's a secret review process completed by the planning board. And do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved,
Second, Alex.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now we'll move on to 43 Oakland Street, I believe. So I have that right, yes. Is there someone in the audience that would like to speak, an applicant? Like to
Yes,
speak? Okay,
Anthony Vermandois, 68 Union Street. Do you need to swear me in again?
I believe so. Were you sworn in last time and can somebody attest to that?
Yeah.
And then we don't need
I
to.
was sworn in last time. It's fine.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, and I'd like to go to screen sharing if I could.
I think Carrie has to let you do that. I don't know where she went.
No.
You try it, Anthony.
Okay. And no, it says it's disabled.
Oh, here she
There
comes.
is.
All right. Sorry, we had a little technical difficulty.
Anthony wants to screen share, Carrie.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Who made the motion for the decision?
It was
Oh,
either
we have all-
Alex or Joe.
It was Joe, I believe.
Joe,
And do we know who second?
Alex.
Alex,
And did you guys make a motion to adjourn 63?
Yes. We did.
Anthony wants to screen share, Carrie.
He's screen sharing.
I'm ready when you folks are.
Who made the motion for the decision?
The motion was to adjourn until the secret process is completed by the planning board
Do we know
for
the second?
Alex.
Alex.
63.
This is all feedback. Okay, Anthony, go ahead.
All right. So just going back to 43 Oakland here. The concern that came up at the previous hearing was the proposed dormer being a little too close to the neighboring property line. What we did was brought it in a additional 18 inches from the we reduced the size to the south by 18 inches, and then also for balance, brought in another 6 inches on the other side. So with that, the impact there was reducing the requested variance from a total of 936 cubic feet down to 825 cubic feet, and then the breakdown being 624 on. Hold on one second. I just want to make sure I get these numbers right. Yeah, so that is from 624 cubic feet on the south to 546 cubic feet, and then on the other side from 321 cubic feet to 279 cubic feet.
Can I ask you to point to the required side yard setback on the south side of the property on the plan, please?
So it's here. I mean, this is the floor plan. I can bring up the survey if that's better.
I think the survey might be better.
Yeah, hold on 1 minute. I may need to do this. I may need to exit screen sharing for a moment. Okay, I'm going to go back into screen sharing here. I can figure it out. So here's the survey. So you can see on that south side, the house is very close to the property line. So that's why, even though it's just a small shed dormer that we're adding to the back, it's just the nature of the property being so close to the property line. I think we're 2.4 feet there. It just means that anything we do on that side is going to violate the sky plane. We've got a little bit more room on the other side, but still, it's still pretty close on that side as well. So the actual setback of the existing wall of the building is 2.4 feet, and then the dormer is going to start a further 2.5 feet in from that.
Okay. And this stone area that's shown on the survey, is that new?
That's existing.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? you all have seen this more recently than I think. Let's sort of take a poll on where everybody is on this. Joe?
I think he's done what we've asked. I don't recall, has there been any reaction from neighbors?
Good question.
Did speak to one neighbor briefly. I just happened informally, I happened to run into him. You know, he seemed okay with it. And I haven't heard from him since.
Alex?
Just bringing up the elevation here.
I
We should see if
agree with
there's
Joe.
anyone- I'm sorry, we
Go.
should see if there's anyone from the public who
Yeah,
wants to
true.
speak on the application.
Is there anyone from the public? I'm sorry, I skipped that.
Carrie's saying no.
There isn't.
And and we haven't received any letters either. have
No, we have not.
201-790.
Okay, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. Alex?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think that, you know, reasonable efforts have been made to address the issues, and I'm pretty comfortable with it.
Pam?
I accepted also. I accepted it last time and they've compromised and I agree now.
I'm just going to add that I don't think it's an undesirable change in the neighborhood and the benefit sought. There's no other method to achieve it. And I don't think it's a substantial change. And I don't also think it's, presents an adverse effect on the environment. And it's not self-created. So I think it meets our test. I would call for sort of an informal motion. Is that what we do, Liz? I've forgotten.
No,
Directing
yeah,
you-
you just poll the board and you make a motion directing me to write a decision for the next
Okay.
meeting in favor of the
All right.
application.
Okay, I'm going to ask for that motion.
So
So
moved,
moved.
Alex.
Second, Joe?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nope.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you. Good evening.
And for the record, our next meeting is February 15th.
Thank you.
On to number 3, which is 31 Long Island Avenue. We need a motion to adjourn until, I believe, secret is completed by the planning board.
Did you
So
do 2
moved.
meetings just in case, like for the March meeting? I'm sorry, I just want to make sure we have a date certain for these. So do for the March meeting and then we can adjourn it more if necessary.
Okay. A motion to adjourn until the March ZBA meeting.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second, Joe?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry?
Which for the record, our next March meeting would be the 15th of March.
So there's a motion on the floor to adjourn it until March 15th. And there was no one opposed, so I think we're good.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Number 4, Leffler, 152 Hampton Street. I believe that's on the list to adjourn. Is that correct, Carrie?
I don't
What
think
what
it
is
was.
the address?
152 Hampton.
152 was removed off of the agenda. So the updated agenda that I sent you this morning, Susan?
Sorry, okay.
That's okay.
And we don't need a motion to adjourn.
No.
Okay. Number 5 is being withdrawn, which is Rysam property, 24 Rysam Street. They've apparently reached an agreement. And then number 6 is 70 Glover Street. And
So what we're gonna do, we need to make a motion to withdraw 24 Rysam Street.
sorry, we need to make a motion to withdraw it. Do I have a motion maker?
So moved,
Al.
Alex. Second, Alex.
Who made the motion and who seconded it?
Al made the motion.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Alex second. All in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Number 6 is 70 Glover Street.
Hello.
And this has been adjourned before, so I don't believe a motion is required to open the hearing, correct?
Correct.
is the applicant here?
Yes,
Would have you been sworn in before?
yes.
Would you like to make a presentation or say
Uh,
anything to the board?
It's been a while from the last meeting. There was a suggestion to be able to raise the house to move it further away from the property line. So I submitted a new proposal with where I show the main house being moved 9 feet 8 inches, being moved about 5 feet. So it's 9 feet 8 inches away from the property line, raised so it's up above the the floodplain, but keeping the existing rear extension where it is and not raising it, not changing it, because if I seal that off and then I access it through the main house, it should be protected from flooding, which is the main reason for me to raise the house.
I had to ask Carrie, this has been around for a while. So it's my understanding the main house is coming closer to Glover Street. And
No, the main house
Okay.
stays, it's the same distance from Glover Street.
you have an existing 2-story section to be relocated on your plan.
It's being moved further from the north property line
Ah,
because it was just about 3.5 feet away from the line. And now it's moved so that there can be a driveway to that side because there's no on-site parking on the lot. And also my neighbor was complaining that the house was too close to the property line, especially if raised, although it has been like this forever. And so that was my latest proposal.
so basically the variants that are before us are the south side part of the existing 1-story residence to remain. That's a non-conforming currently existing, correct?
It's the extension is a non-conforming existing extension that I would leave as is. And I would raise and move the house and then add a small extension into the center where both slightly enlarge the existing dormer and then extend the house slightly into the middle of the lot, which would need very, very minor variance from both from the lot line. It would not need it from the pyramid law, but only a little bit from the yard, the side yard.
So is there a reduction in your pyramid variance from what's on the agenda?
Yes, much so.
Carrie, can you help me out? Because I'm stumped. I've got.
I don't
current
think
plans.
the agenda or what was noticed in the agenda is reflecting the current plans.
Okay, if
I
somebody
think the
could,
current plan needs to be reviewed by the building inspector, and if different relief is required, it needs to be noticed accordingly.
Okay.
I don't know when we received this updated plan and whether it was
We
reviewed.
received the
and renoticed.
updating plan
Thank you.
at the end of July, or not the beginning of August.
Okay,
And the reason I could not be on the agenda in the August meeting is I didn't receive the survey in time, but all the drawings were submitted prior to the deadline.
well, the survey is, when did we receive the revised survey?
The result on the day of the meeting in August.
Okay,
So We received the plans August 10th, which the board has received, and we received the updated survey on August 17th, which the board has also received. The building inspector did look at this.
Okay, good.
And could you please, can we go over the agenda item as it was noticed? And to keep this simple for the board and me, can you tell us how this has changed based on the revisions submitted in August?
So Susan, the plans that I gave you
Yes,
from August 10th,
I have the survey and the plans.
yeah, so
Correct.
that's the most updated
Okay, got it.
plans.
Okay. Do
So
any
that
of
was the
the,
applicant who would go through that for you. How
yeah,
it was
please.
made.
Could you go through it for us as the applicant? You did already, correct? And you used what you were talking about in front of us was the August 10th version?
I did not, I wasn't allowed to be at the meeting on August 17th because the delay in getting the survey to you.
Correct, okay. Any comments from the other board members? Oh, excuse me, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this? Any comments from the other board members? No comments?
Well, I recall that we gave her the option in order to make the changes, and she has modified it as opposed to what she had before.
I did.
I believe that's my recall also, Susan.
Alex?
Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up with looking at the old files here. This is kind of an old case. But
Sorry.
but it'd be helpful. I mean, Susan, I think you just asked the applicant to kind of walk us through it.
I would like the variances listed on the agenda, if they've been modified, to go through, because there are a number of them.
I agree, because other than that,
We don't even know what we'd be voting on at this point.
Exactly. I'd be speaking from ignorance, so I'd rather have
Do you have
somebody
your
walk us
agenda?
through.
Miss, does the applicant have a copy of the agenda, or do you want me to share my screen so you can
No,
read
I
the
don't
agenda?
have a copy of the agenda.
You do or you don't? I'm sorry.
No, I
No.
don't.
Okay, I'll share my screen if you let me, Carrie. We can share the agenda.
Right, thank you.
See it, and we can go through it. Can you see? It's number 70 Glover
Oh,
Street.
yes, I see. it.
Okay. So the first one is the proposed front yard setback along Glover Street for the one-story addition is 11 feet where 20 feet is required. Therefore, a variance of 9 feet is required. Does that
Although that
apply?
is not correct, I went over with that with the building inspector, and he agreed that I don't need a variance for the front yard because the house has always been in that location, and even moving it or raising it should not change that.
So you have eliminated the first variance request.
I had already done that before the July meeting. I had met with the inspector, and he had agreed with me that that was not required.
Because all you were doing was raising the house, not actually
That
moving
is
it.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, so number 2 is the proposed rear yard setback for the north side of the property for the 2-story addition is 2 feet where 30 feet is required. Therefore, a variance of 28 feet is needed.
Is
The
that
rear yard
correct?
setback, is that
No,
correct?
the rear yard setback from the north is the 2-story addition was 4 feet away, is existingly 4 feet. I'm now moving it almost 10 feet further away so I can raise it. It can, it's a corner lot, and the house is where it is, and wanted to just to save it from being flooded. It's been flooded a few times, and it seems terribly onerous to have to move it because it's a corner lot, it doesn't have a side yard. If it was not a corner lot, then that would be a side yard and only require a 15-foot side yard.
There's no doubt that this is an odd lot and having two front yards is a hardship. But I still need to know, and we need to know whether number 2 on your variance is how that is to be corrected.
It's being correct. It should be corrected as per the 20 feet is okay of the front yard.
No, the proposed rear yard for the 2-story addition is 2 feet. where
There's no
30
2-story addition. That's another thing. It's a house.
It says on the survey at the time, it said proposed 2nd-story addition. That's why it says that on the.
So, Liz,
Yeah.
this was renoticed back in July. And I'm just looking for the actual public notice.
Okay.
And I'll just let you know that in 1 minute. I'm just looking for it. I just wanted you to know that it was renoticed.
The survey I'm looking at is from
I don't
From
think
May
it has been
14th,
corrected
2000.
since I met.
Well, there's a later survey. There's a later survey. It's dated at the top right, August 17th, 2021.
Maybe I was looking at an old one.
Liz, if you could just stop sharing for 1 minute, I'll pull up
Sure.
what was
Sorry.
noticed.
Okay.
Can you see this?
Yeah,
So that's what was noticed in the paper for the public notice.
Well, the first variance is still there, the
right.
11th.
So
Okay.
that's what was noticed. That's what our building inspector wrote the turn down, and that's when that was what was given to our attorney to draft a public notice.
Yeah.
So this is the interpretation from the building inspector.
Well, this is the same
It's the same.
language that's on the
Right,
agenda.
but
And
after-
that's,
When I met with the inspector, and Carrie will remember that he said, he agreed with me that this was incorrect. And he said, is the variance going to be less or more that required? And the variance was going to be less, then it didn't need to be reposted. Because Carrie specifically asked him at that time, do we need to repost this? And he
Okay.
said, not, because the variance that is required is less, not more.
Okay.
That's fine. The notice may be accurate, but the problem is we don't know what you're asking for now.
Yeah.
It's on the drawings that I sent.
Well, then you need to take us through 1 through 5 and tell us how it's been reduced, please. Otherwise, we need to adjourn this so the building official and you can work out the proper variances that we should be considering. Because we don't make variances. Our charge is to try to reduce variances, not to grant more than is necessary.
Well, that's what I have been trying to do, is to make it less and not more.
But
I know you
need,
have.
we need specificity to actually have the board issue a decision, right? So
But,
that's,
you know,
question.
if this notice had been shared with me, I could have corrected it prior to
Anna,
this
it
meeting.
actually was given to you. That's a copy that was given to you when you put the posters up on the property.
yeah, this has been.
Yeah, but after that,
the agenda.
I understand. And at that point, I went to the building inspector and we realized that it was incorrect, but it was never corrected. And
Well-
so I didn't know that it had never been corrected.
Please keep in mind that we've had 2 building inspectors since, I don't know which one you spoke with, but There's
The
been-
newer one.
No, this was back when James Esposito was here.
Right.
He's no
Yeah,
longer
but then
here.
I spoke with, now I don't remember his name, I'm sorry. But I spoke first with Esposito because this has been over 2 years. And then I spoke in last summer with the new inspector, and he understood but said it didn't have to be changed in the notice because it was less and not more.
Can I make a
Okay,
suggestion? We really want to help you, but we can't do it unless we have a proper agenda with the variances listed as you need. And we're sorry to do this to you because you have waited a long time, but we're going to have to adjourn it until this is cleared up.
Carrie,
Okay,
can I
so how is this, since you make the agenda, so how is it going to be cleared up? If it
We're
didn't
gonna-
get cleared up from the last meeting to now, how is it going to happen from this meeting to next?
Because I'm going to email the building inspector and ask him what the specific reductions and variances are for this case. So that we have a specific number of variances. Maybe it's just, maybe you only need the reduced pyramid. I don't know, but we have to look at the plan, the amended plan, and make sure. So it's clearly not, and if it is less, it does not require renoticing. It just needs to be clarified so that this board can grant the correct variances.
Okay, will
Yeah.
you share that with me? So in case
Absolutely,
I don't
absolutely.
agree,
Yes,
listen,
of course.
can have a chance to correct it?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So is there anyone else on the board that wants to say anything? Otherwise, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'm just like, at the time, we were very sympathetic
Right.
to her because of the hardship and also the flooding. And so I think she has made some compromise. And as you have indicated, I think we need to reevaluate it with the changes from the inspector.
Okay, thank you. Alex, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, just unfortunate that we don't have the current variance requests here, because otherwise we would be happy to act on it, but it's very hard since we don't know what's being specifically asked for, so. But
May I ask
we'll
one more?
make sure it's ready for the next meeting.
May I ask one more question? Has the neighbor who had made the initial complaint, is she aware of the changes?
Good question.
She should be aware of the changes because she came to the August meeting, and at that point they had been submitted, and the way she told me, she looks at what's has been submitted to you. She didn't want to see anything directly from me, and saying that since all of that were submitted to you, she should have had a chance to see that.
Okay.
Normally, normally an interested party would have to go and ask building inspection for copies. So it might be a good idea for you to suggest that she do that, or that you give her what you've turned in.
I'm here right now and I will do that. Thank you.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn this to the next meeting in February, which I believe is the 15th?
Paula,
So moved.
just so you know, you have seen this plans. These plans are from August. You have definitely seen them.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Have a motion
So moved, Alex.
and a second?
Second, Joe.
Pam?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Number 7 is 34 High Street.
Okay, so I will sign off. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's being adjourned.
Correct. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Alex.
Second.
Joe.
Pam?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And it's a motion to adjourn it to the next meeting on February the 15th. I apologize for not stating that. Number 8, 25 Liberty Street.
Also been adjourned, yeah.
Yes, do we have a motion to adjourn it to February 15th?
So moved. Second, Alex.
So Joe made the motion and Alex seconded. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Now we're at 254 Hampton Street. Has this been on the agenda? It has. Is it all business?
Yeah, it's all business.
So we don't need to open it.
Yes,
Is
we
it-
actually do.
We do, okay. Do I have a motion to open up the public hearing?
So moved, Alex.
Second?
Second, Joe.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Is the applicant here?
Yes,
Would you like to make a presentation?
yes, thank you so much. My name is Linda from Definitive Design. I'm the agent for the property owner, Mr. Cannon.
Linda, can you just state your last name and your address for the record?
Sure, I'm sorry. Linda Ruisi, 18 Hunter Avenue in Miller Place, New York, 11764.
Can you just spell your last name for me?
Sure. R as in Robert, UI, S as in Sam, I.
Okay.
Are you an attorney, ma'am?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And has she been sworn in before?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. So what we're proposing is for a new construction of a 2 single-family residence with an attached garage requiring a variance under the section 300-9.3D, which is the pyramid of the Sag Harbor Village Code, to allow a proposed roof to intrude into the sky plane by 987 cubic feet, where 0 is permitted. Therefore, the relief is required for the same. I believe that you have all the paperwork, as I'm sorry, I just came aboard onto this project. So I believe that when I spoke with Ms. Scarpi, she had said that everything was there from the previous agent / owner, Michael, that he did supply with everything. I also have a letter dated on 5/26/2021 from the neighbor of 258 Hampton Street, which is the neighbor that is that will have the pyramid on her side as well. And I have a letter stating that she is well aware of the intention to build on this new lot. And we did supply her with the set of plans of the proposed house to build for their review. She understands the small corner of the house is outside the pyramid requirement and that she had no objections to the proposed plan at all. So I just wanted to make sure that, everyone was aware that the neighbor that would be seeing this as an issue has no problems with it as well.
Can I ask one point of clarification? I assume this property is not in the Village Historic District?
No.
And have you explored all options in terms of diminishing this variance or trying to avoid this variance?
Yes, at all costs. Unfortunately, with the way that the house will be constructed it's a very small encroachment, of course, but I understand that you do have that there is none permitted. And of course, this is why we're here for the relief. If there was something that we could do to scale back, of course we would, but unfortunately at that point, there is nothing on this. We have met everything else as far as what was permitted, but unfortunately that was the one thing that we couldn't meet.
Is it possible that there could be some type of screening? We've typically looked at garage doors that are facing the street and asked applicants to mitigate the appearance of a garage right on the street. Is there something you could do to
Type
do
of
that?
like arborvitae's, is that what you're asking for, some type of landscaping?
Yes.
If that's what is necessary, I'm sure that I can speak with the client and have it taken care of.
Can you speak directly into the camera when you speak? Because when
I'm
you
sorry.
turn your head, we can't hear you. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
So yes, I can speak with my client, and I'm sure that there'd be no issue in taking care of any type of landscaping that you are requiring and requesting. We're here to hopefully get everyone to be on the same page and and be happy with each other's decisions and choices.
Are there any other people in the audience that would like to speak? All right, board members?
I
The only
think that the pyramid violation is pretty small, just in terms of the relative size of the house. It's a pretty small piece of the house. It seems kind of de minimis to me visually. You know, the nearly 1,000 cubic feet is not a nothing number, but relative to the scale of the house, which seems appropriate, it seems okay to me. And I feel like we've approved larger pyramid violations than this. So I'm pretty comfortable with it. Unless I hear from my fellow board members who point out something that I didn't see.
No, I agree as well. I think it's fine.
Appreciate that.
Pam?
Well, when I initially saw it and reviewed it, I was concerned, since it was a new building, why they could not modify it in terms of building it without a variance. But as they've indicated, it's a small amount. I would accept it.
You raise a good point, though, Ham. You do raise a good point,
Yeah.
and that occurred to me too, which is that, you know, usually we're dealing with kind of existing structures that have been kind of grandfathered in, or that's, you know, these rules weren't in place at the time when they were originally built. People are trying to make kind of modifications to them. This is unusual in that it is
Yeah.
a new build, and therefore, in theory, could be avoided. So I don't know, Susan, how you feel about that.
That's what
That is
concerned me.
Yeah.
Well,
fact
the
that it was
problem,
a new
yeah. The only problem I have is that it's a very sort of regular lot size. It's not a triangle or a very difficult lot to work with. And I know you perceive it to be a small variance, but we're charged with asking you the question, and I think I started out with that question. Have you done anything to review reducing the sky plane variance or avoiding it totally? Do you have anything you could show us that you have analyzed it?
Well, other than that, I've spoken back and forth with the architects, back with the surveyor, even the owner.
You keep turning your head,
We
ma'am.
can't hear you.
Hear you.
Although that I keep speaking with the architect, the surveyor, the owner, it's such a minimal, again, I understand and respect that this, the requirements, but it's such a minimal amount for it that I can't see where I can possibly, or they can possibly take from somewhere to, you know, take away to just meet this little requirement.
Well, can you
Honestly,
explain, from an architectural standpoint, can you explain why the sky plane is necessary? I mean, I see that there's a room there, but some rooms don't have straight edges, attic rooms, for example.
Well, it's part of that roof right there in that spot is part of the end of the roof line. It's unfortunately, if we were on the drawing where you can see, if we were to stay in like we were on the other side, we would actually have to cut that house back to like almost a whole, let's say, see where the two windows are, we'd have to cut it down to literally one of those windows. It just wouldn't be feasible. It would be really a hardship to do that based upon how this house is structured.
Well, okay. I don't know how Ham and Alex feel, but one window and avoiding the sky plane variance is not a bad idea.
It's not avoiding the one window, it's avoiding one window of the whole entire on the entire structure. So if you went straight up, for instance, from the bottom up, you're actually cutting let me just see. Let me see how much it would be. Let me just look at the plans for 1 minute.
I mean, I see the point, which is if you're going to keep it, I mean, it's basically kind of a square shaped house.
Right.
And so if you were going to bring that corner, that upper left corner to within the sky plane, you would more or less have to draw a line just to the right of where the the double windows.
Correct. You'd
Right.
take like one window out of the double.
And so you lose one out of the double on both the upper and the
Right,
lower
which
floor.
I'm just trying
Not
to
on the
see.
lower, yeah, on the lower
No,
floor.
Yes, lower, and so let me just see.
No,
what-
just on the
And it
upper
would be
floor.
appreciably
Alex.
smaller, what's that?
It'd be the upper floor only.
Well, then you would have to cut how you would have to build is on the first floor. you
Well,
would
you'd
kind
have
of
to
go
make
straight
a,
And then go up. It
It,
would,
it wouldn't be a square house or
it
rectangular
wouldn't be a
house.
square house, yeah, it would be this kind of funny shaped thing. So, and I certainly understand why, I mean, it's a very square house, that's the kind
Right.
of look of it. So it would kind of interfere with that, but it's definitely doable. And I am a little troubled, Susan, per your point, that there's no evidence of efforts being made to come up with a modified design that would at least attempt, make a good faith effort to reduce the impact, if not eliminate it, or the violation.
Would you mind terribly, applicant, if we held this for a month so you could go back to your client and show us that you've made an effort and what the impact would really be?
of course, if that's what's needed,
Hello, can I speak?
Yeah.
Hello,
Yes, who is
how you
this?
doing? I'm just a builder for the applicant. I just want to add 2 cents if I may.
We have to swear you in,
Okay,
okay? So can you raise your right hand?
yes. It's
We
raised.
can't see you. That would be really helpful.
Tell us your name.
My name is
Yeah.
Fado Vitale from Vitale Building Company. I'm the
Okay.
builder for the applicant.
Great. Can you put your right hand up?
My right hand is up.
Great. We can't see you, so I'm sorry. Do you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. State your name, please. Again, for the
Fado
record.
Vitale from Vitale Building Company.
Thank you.
So I just was listening in on the conversation in regards to, modifying a bit and how we can cut that corner of the home. But I just want to add 2 cents is that it's not as simple as just cutting a window out or just part of that front of the house. If we had to cut it, it would go through the entire length of the home, which would be the front bedroom. There is a staircase that is in the middle of the home. And there's also another bedroom, and there's also bathrooms along the entire perimeter of that side of the structure. So, there are some building codes we have to meet as far as ceiling heights and, air and light into the bedrooms, into the bathrooms. So, by cutting the entire structure through, we would end up having a non-functional second floor, that half of the building. We did try to change the structure a bit, and it ended up having that we end up having less bedrooms or functional bedrooms and useful rooms. So at the end of the day, we want to improve the value of the neighborhood and having a structure that would bring value and would sell and have a homeowner use it and it's functional. So that's why our last resort was to have less than 1,000 cubic feet of area that we would request for a variance. And again, we always will try to minimize and not go for a variance. It's actually easier for us to not go for a variance. If we didn't go this route, we could end up getting a building permit many, many months ago, 6 to 8 months ago. So we would have preferred to have gone that direction. But this is the last resort we have. And that's where we're asking the board to help us get relief on getting this so we can not have, an empty lot and we can bring some value to the neighborhood.
Can I ask a question, Susan?
Yes.
So just so I'm clear, there is no owner. This is a spec house. Is that just so I'm clear on what we're looking at?
That's actually something you shouldn't be using in weighing.
Right.
in your
It
Okay,
can't be
determination.
part of our
I was
decision-making
more
process.
just curious whether there was a family attached
Thank
to
you.
this house or not. Okay, so my more germane question is, and I'm not an engineer, so I don't know how the mathematics works here, but I notice on the other side, the right-hand side, you're just within the pyramid. If you move the house just to the right, some number of feet, you would obviously have a little bit of a pyramid violation. Let's say you moved it enough so that garage corner would then abut the pyramid line. You would then have a little bit of a violation on the second floor, but then you would bring in your violation on the left side. I'm just wondering whether you consider doing that and what the kind of net cubic foot violation would be if you did that.
It would probably be the same because it's a matter of,
One half dozen the other.
mathematically, it'd always be the same. And we're also staying within the setbacks allowed. So, we don't want to also trigger, other
Other
variances.
problems,
This
right.
is the only variance that we would ask for the relief on.
I have another question. On Plan A5, there's a note at the bottom. And it states, note, actual house may vary from elevation. What does that mean?
A5 is, let me see what you were given. Is that a
It's for-
landscape plan?
No, it's
on the
Vitale
second.
Building Company on the upper right, and it is a right side elevation. And it's A5 on the bottom right.
Okay, I don't have what, possibly I provided my client with something that then they forwarded to you, but I don't see that. If anything's noted like that, it's basically to say that, maybe a color or a material would have changed, but. as
No, it's
far
not.
as-
It has nothing to do with color or material. It says, note, actual house may vary from elevation. What does that mean?
Well, I don't know what elevation, if you're looking at a rendering or a two-dimensional drawing.
Carrie? I can't screen, I can't screen share because I'm.
It's
don't-
from Apex Home. It's the.
It's the
actual.
Two-story right side elevation, and on the bottom it says,
On the
note,
bottom.
actual house may vary from elevation. I just need to know what it means.
If it's from the modular company, it's possible that they might have noted that just to protect themselves against my client, just so he wouldn't say that certain thing was included or not. It has nothing to do with this hearing as far as us changing anything on the board.
Liz, do you know what this means? Can you look at A5 for me?
I'll look at it. Is it a,
I don't know what the note means. Just,
it's, is this a modular home?
Yes.
That's probably why. But it means what it says. So the fact, where does it say that exact actual house may vary from elevation? So, if you have a question about that, we're going to need to just clarify it with the building inspector because it means exactly what it says, that the elevation may be different. Which you're suggesting it might impact the pyramid relief that's being granted, right?
that's correct.
Yeah, and that's what we want to make sure of. So we just have to check that with the building inspector to make sure it won't vary, even if it varies, even though it says that on the plans, it could just be a disclaimer related to a modular home plan set, but that we don't know. I have to ask the building inspector. Just to make sure the pyramid relief is being granted is exact correct amount. Right, that's what you're saying.
If I may, Elizabeth, the plan that was submitted, from what I believe was submitted, was the zoning plan. I think it was AZ 101. That's what is based on with the pyramid and the variance relief request, correct? So the other one is more just a backup from the modular plan to show, their elevations or the plan itself. But as far as the math behind the requested relief, it's based on the AZ 101. Yes.
Right, which we also have, correct. The
Right.
the actual architectural plans
Yes.
indicate the
yes.
pyramid relief. We
I just wanted to
make-
notate that.
Yeah,
just so,
that's-
again,
it's
that
fine. We
the
just wanna
modular
make
plans,
sure.
they write certain things just to protect themselves, only,
Yeah.
regards to the clients, nothing to do with the zoning board.
I
here.
would like to see us adjourn this for a month and ask the building official to review that note because nobody really seems to know what it means and it was submitted. It's part of our record. And I would also like the applicants to see if they could find any other way. If it's a modular home, I don't know what that means in terms of making changes. But it seems to me that if it's a modular home, it may be we're trying to fit something in to the current code that doesn't fit. So if you could just look at the note and meet with the building official and get it explained to be sure we're doing the right thing. And then secondly, take a second look at the variance to see if you can reduce it. That's where I am on this.
And can I just add, and I know that the Faro seemed to indicate that it'll be 6 of one, half dozen of the other if the buildings move to the right. But I'm actually not sure, given the nature of the different sides and the different architecture on each side, whether that's actually the case. I think you could get a potential reduction by trying to move the building to the right a little bit without having to remove that upper left corner and lose the 2 windows upstairs. And so, yes, you would have a new variance that you would have to raise with us, which is a side yard, but you're within it now. Obviously, that's why you don't have a variance request at 15 feet. And I'm guessing it would be a pretty small variance request in terms of that side yard variance that you'd be looking for. But then from the kind of pyramid standpoint and the kind of presentation of the building and the size of the building and the way it presents to the community and to the street, it might be less egregious. And so you might be able to, kind of have your cake and eat it too, potentially. And I'm not sure that it's going to be the exact same cubic violation in the pyramid. It might be, you might be right, but it might not be. So it might be worth a look.
And it is one of the things we have to consider, whether there's another way to achieve another method to achieve what you'd like to achieve. So is there someone who would be willing to make a motion to adjourn it until February 15th?
I would. So moved, Alex.
Second, Joe.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
So the next meeting is going to be February
15th?
15th, and we'll be on. I just want to say that it is in a spec house. My client plans to move in there. So I will obviously speak with him, speak with the everyone to see what we can do to get everybody to be in an agreeable on what everybody can do for each other.
We
Thanks.
Appreciate that, but just please keep in mind that whether it's a spec house or not is not in our.
No.
It is irrelevant. I was more curious. So sorry, I withdraw that question.
Yeah, no. I understand. I just like everybody to be upfront with what it is. As I said, I was retained on this as a new agent, and I just like to bring it forthcoming to what it's going to be and what it really is. That's all. So
Yeah.
I will have everybody get together. I'll speak to them and hopefully get everybody's comments addressed to the correct way. And hopefully next meeting, we can get this taken care of.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Right.
Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Item 10 is 29 Harding Terrace. They've requested an adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn it to the February 15th meeting?
Ham, so moved.
Second,
Joe, second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, I think that's it, is it not?
Yes,
Yep.
it is.
Well, that was
Just
good
need a
first.
motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One other thing before we adjourn completely. This is just for informational purposes and is not really part of the agenda tonight. I've asked Liz to consider coming up and I'll some policies for the Zoning Board to approve. And so we'll talk about this later, but if you all have any ideas after you see the first set, please comment on them. And if you have others, add them. So we can consider that at next month's meeting.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Very
thank
good.
you.
Good night. Thanks,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.